What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Librarians of Solana podcast. I'd like to welcome you to episode 3. My name is T, and I am one of the librarians here in Solana in the world of Wraith. I've got a little bit of news as we get into this third episode. This is going to be a pretty short episode because not a lot happened, but we do have one or two pretty big things, a big announcement, and then a little bit that I'd like to do before we get into ProQuest season, which is coming up very soon. So for the first bit of news, we have an announcement that the first calling in Europe is going to be held soon in Krakow, Poland. That's going to be April 15th through 17th. That is Easter weekend, and that format is going to be Blitz constructed. So the first Blitz calling, going to be interesting. LSS confirms that the event was meant to be sooner, but was postponed because of Omicron, the COVID variant. So unfortunately, it is going to be held Easter weekend. There has been a little bit of community outlash about that. A couple people upset, and reasonably so. A lot of family commitments, but I'm sure this isn't going to be the only calling held in Europe. It's just a little unfortunate this is going to be the first, and there's going to be some restrictions on people being able to attend it, but it's Blitz, so it's going to be interesting for sure. Everfest has been out for just shy of 2 weeks now, and we've seen some interesting shakeups in the metagame already. I personally attended a win-a-case tournament the weekend of the release at a store called Out of the Box Gaming. It was in Thomasville, North Carolina, which was about 2.5 hours from me. I'll be there later in the season for a ProQuest, but this was the Win-a-Case event. It was mentioned in a podcast done by Rob Seigel and Tarek Patel, because this was a notorious event where a gentleman named Matthew W. won on Bravo Star the Show. This was the first showing of Bravo Star the Show publicly. Personally, I went 4-1 in Swiss, and then I went 1-1 in top 8. Won the first round, beat a gentleman named Alex Keeler, who later top 8'd a cool event that we're going to talk about in a bit. But then I lost in the semifinals to Matt, who was playing that Bravo Star list, and that was the first time that I had seen anything like it. It was very interesting, and I have a lot of opinions on it now. The deck is very cool. But we'll talk about that later when we get into some of the meta-analysis breakdown later at the end of this episode. Yeah, congrats to Matt for winning that event and taking home a case of Everfest and bringing Starvo to the public. Captain Planet is, as he called it. I mentioned it as being Captain Planet because I had heard other people in the room calling it that. He goes, my name is catching on. So, yeah, congrats to Matt for winning that event. ProQuest season is just a couple days away. You're seeing this on Thursday. That means that the first event is this Saturday, 2 days from now, depending on when you're watching, I suppose. But 2 days from this video post is when ProQuest season starts. You can earn your spot participating in Flesh and Blood's first Pro Tour later this year in New Jersey. If you want some more information on the Pro Tour, you can find it in my previous videos, or you can go to fabtcg.com. That's fabtcg.com. And if you aren't familiar with that website, you should be. It is brought to us by LSS. A lot of great materials on there, a lot of news, and that's also how you can keep track of tournament results, pairings, and your XP and ELO ratings and all that good stuff from your profile. So if you haven't checked it out already, be sure to go check it out. With all that covered, let's talk about the event that happened this past weekend. That's going to be SCG Con Philadelphia, hosted by Star City Games. The event was held in the Valley Forge Casino and Resort and featured 3 different Magic the Gathering 10K payout events of various formats, and the first ever Battle Hardened Pro Quest event. This is the first time we've had a Battle Hardened Pro Quest, with the revamped prize pool including first and second both getting a PTI, as opposed to previously where first was the only one who got a PTI. It also paid out a nice amount of cash, which is different than the past. Previously, I believe it was just paid out in sealed product outside of first place. So now first place gets a curated gold cold foil, which is a selection from the vault of available gold cold foils you can pull whenever you get a packet. And it ended up still being an Arcanite Skullcap. So let's talk about some of the breakdown from your top 8. After 6 rounds of Swiss play, your top 8 competitors were Nicholas Santa, playing Bravo, star of the show, Tyler Kretschmer, I'm so sorry if I am just butchering that name, but Tyler was playing Bravo, star of the show, Ryan Newberry on Bravo, star of the show, Charles Dunn on Bravo, star of the show, Pat Ishki, again, sorry if I'm butchering your name, playing Bravo, star of the show, Daniel Rutkowski, playing Chain, Alex Keeler, playing Chain, congratulations, that's Alex, who I beat in the top 8 of that Win a Case event, and then Timothy Wells, playing Briar. Then this was a Chain Mount Heroic Earth Briar build. We haven't gotten released deck lists yet from this event at the time of me recording this, but Charles Dunn would go on to defeat Daniel Rutkowski in the finals, making Bravo star of the show the winner of the first big classic constructed event post Everfest. And each of those competitors are now have the chance to use their PTI to go to the Pro Tour in New Jersey. Charles tweeted his deck lists after the event, actually, and said that that he tested the list with Pat, and they ended up playing the same 80. Charles actually beat Pat in the semifinals of the top 8 of this event to advance to the finals to go on to win. But it's kind of interesting. This list looks very element-based. It's similar to Matt's list. It's similar to the list that Rob Seigel and Tarek Patel put public. There's a couple of differences. In one big one that I noticed is Pulverize. So they're playing Pulverize in this list, which is the giant Majestic that smashes for 14. And so they were just like putting it in the arsenal, using the ability to get 3 Seismic Surges. I can't remember the name of that ability off the top of my head, but it's the new ability where you can pay 3 during your end step to put it face up in your arsenal and make 3 Seismic Surges, whatever that ability is called. I'm so sorry. I'm sure it's on the screen, literally like right here, right now, and you're looking at it and you're like, man, this guy, what's his problem? But they were taking advantage of that and then using the Captain Planet effect on Bravo to smack in with that and making it a lot cheaper to play, which is very interesting. Normally, these Bravo Star the Show lists are more about just showing Bravo Star, doing a 3-cost 7 attack to make it 9 with Go Again or whatever, or like an Oak and Old Fuse, something that's just a 3-cost big value swing, and then coming in with like the Hammer, coming in with Winter's Wheel, pitching an Ice card. Like, all right, here's 4 with a Frostbite. This one you can block all out, but do you want to? Awkward damage threshold. You have your choices here. What are you going to do? And then afterwards, just putting a card in arsenal. So it's like pitching your Lightning, play your Earth, pitch your Ice, attack, arsenal the last one. And then you can take advantage of Crown of Seeds to recycle your arsenal and try to fix your hand. Most of the lists are playing Fyandel's Tunic, so every few turns you get a free opportunity to use Crown of Seeds, which is super interesting. Love the deck. It plays really interesting. A lot of people already are calling, does it need banned? Does it need nerfed? Does it need errated? I don't think so. Personally, I think this is week 1 of the meta. A lot of people are seeing this fancy, shiny new deck and want to test it out, right? So that's why there's a lot of them out there. I think this deck has some strong contenders that play very well against it. I think Aura Prism has a good chance. I think some builds of Viscerai have a good chance. Unironically, I think Ice Lexi, very well positioned for this ProQuest meta. So yeah, the deck doesn't really need changed. Even though our top 8 for this event was 5 Bravos, 2 Chains, 1 Briar, we're kind of staring at these scary Runeblade heroes that we've seen in the past be really broken before, along with a new Guardian hero that just came out. There's that fear, okay, every time we get a new hero, is it just going to be the busted, broken hero that's the absolute nuts, goes wild on the meta? I don't think so. I think it's just going to take people a little bit to develop a way to beat this Bravo, but I don't think it's going to be a problem in the long run. Similar to how Lightning Briar was starting to kind of get hated out of the meta by Guardians towards the end of its lifetime. And like, if you look at Australian Nationals, it wasn't even there wasn't a Briar in the finals, and that was pre-nerfs, pre-bans. So the meta would have worked itself out eventually. It just would have been a very high population of Briars. I think the same thing's going to happen with Bravo. Probably nothing needs to change, especially not yet. People just need some time to develop a counter to this deck, and I think that's completely reasonable. So in simple, no, I don't think anything needs banned, nerfed, or errated, at least not yet. What do I think you should be prepared to play against in the first week of ProQuest? I'm so glad that I can hear you talking at me through your monitor. Glad to answer that. Like I mentioned before, I think Aura Prism has a very good chance. I think the Captain Planet builds of Bravo Star the Show are going to be very strong, but can still be countered out by somebody who has adequate testing and the information about what's strong in that matchup. Though I still think you should expect to see quite a bit of it during ProQuest season. I think Viserai builds with an OTK mainboard strategy siding out into mid-range are going to be very strong and have a chance to defeat that Bravo Star strategy, as well as take on some of the newer builds of Aura Prism. And then finally, I think that the Lexi Ice build, using Voltaire to shoot multiple ice arrows or things like Endless Arrow, Sleep Dart, the important on-hit arrows that kind of deal with this current meta are going to be very strong going forward. Like I said, I'm just going to keep this episode pretty short, pretty concise. Nothing too spectacular here. Next week's episode is going to be a lot more exciting after we get week 1 of ProQuests down. I'll probably have a guest on the show. Maybe, maybe not. Not 100% sure yet, but we'll see you there if we do. I'll try to reach out to somebody, hopefully somebody who picks up a ProQuest win this weekend, and then we'll have them on the show and talk to him next week, and that'll be next week's episode of the podcast. But thank you so much for watching. I have a few exit questions for you. You can feel free to reply in the comments if you'd like, or tweet at me on Twitter. How many events are you planning to play in during this ProQuest season? Personally, there are 8 possibilities for me, so I'm going to play in all 8. The farthest one away is like a 3.5-hour drive, and I'm crazy, so I'm going to be playing in a lot, and that's not that far of a drive, in my opinion. Do you know what you're going to play? What deck are you excited to play? What deck are you excited to bring to ProQuest season? Do you have a favorite hero that you're excited to sleeve back up and get into competitive play with? Let me know in the comments below. Tag me on Twitter when you take one down. My Twitter handle is @TEECG Gaming, and I'm sure that Aiden has pictured it here. So go ahead and drop me a follow and tag me if you take down a ProQuest. Oh, hey, checking out? Excellent. That's going to be due back on next Thursday. I'll see you there.